Greetings to all my self-made executives and entrepreneurs. Welcome to Curious Conversation, a live talk show where we bring entrepreneurs together to learn from each other's experiences, ideas, to grow and thrive. I'm your host, Adrienne Johnson, the Lady Executive. Each week, we interview entrepreneurs to understand the steps they took to be successful and why. We also invite a live audience to join and ask questions as well. So be sure to add your questions to the chat. My guest today is Eric Weynand, founder of PlotPath. Eric has more than 15 years of industry experience in finance and accounting. He's worked with companies ranging from smallest emerging organizations to global Fortune 500s. His roles have included the full breadth of the CFO department's responsibility, including day-to-day bookkeeping, accounting, profit and loss management, business intelligence, and investor board presentations. PlotPath is an elite tier QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. It's my pleasure to welcome Eric Weynand to the show. Welcome, Eric. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I am well. Thank you so much for your time today being on the show. As we spoke when we first had our conversation, finances and business is extremely important. So I thought you'd be an absolutely wonderful resource for everyone to tap into.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here and share what I can to help out all the entrepreneurs and executives out there, lady and otherwise.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. So why don't you just tell us about your journey, how you came to the inception of PlotPath and why that was your passion?
Sure. Really, the inception, the epiphany moment came when I was serving as the finance director for a $2 million venture capital water technology startup in Austin, venture capital backed. I in-housed a bunch of the finance and accounting and kind of revolutionized how they did everything in the finance accounting department, from bookkeeping to financial reporting to financial planning to board presentations. So really that was the epiphany moment that, hey, every business of this size needs this finance and accounting done in a disciplined, expert way. But most of them don't know how to get there. They can't figure it out. They're small. They can't hire an entire staff of people. They don't have the range of skills they need. So that was really the epiphany moment that said, I got to do what I've done here for all the SMBs out there, of a similar size. And so that's when I launched it, and that was at the end of 2015 when I left that startup company and founded PlotPath and started working in this way. But really, it's been a career, like you mentioned there. I worked in all aspects of finance and accounting. So it's been a career of everything from basic day-to-day bookkeeping to financial controllership, month-end close, to front office business intelligence, learning the entire journey of the business from the finance and accounting perspective, and figuring out how to, apply that to SMBs and scale that model.
Awesome. Just realizing that there was a need and filling that void. That's pretty cool. So
yeah, absolutely.
Please.
And it's I was going to add that it's kind of happening simultaneously with the transition to it was kind of like the technology revolution, right? And the cloud revolution. A lot of what finance and accounting can do today and the way we do it was impossible, 10 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, right? Accountants used to work on paper with pen and have these big green and white ledgers that they would write all the entries on, right? That's how I learned accounting when I first started.
Yeah, me too. It scared the mess out of me.
Yeah, it's that big one that has the holes on the side that goes in the giant printer to print your general ledger. Well, we're light years from that, right? Now, everything over time, and it started in other industries, but now it's kind of overtaken finance and accounting, has all moved into the cloud. So all of the software and the systems are all cloud based. We can access those software and systems from anywhere with the right, security controls in place, of course, and that allows us to deliver finance and accounting the way we do, from off premises, right, not on site,
Right.
with a team of people that is distributed
Okay.
around the country,
Oh,
and using modern software to do really efficient and effective financial reporting and analysis.
that's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah, I remember going through accounting classes, and I had to figure out, the balance sheets and all of those great things. And I was like, accounting is not for me. But now that it's online, it's a little easier to digest and understand, just a little bit. But that's why
Yeah,
your
you're right.
organization is around, right? To help out
Right.
with those
Like,
who are intimidated.
yeah, all those softwares have kind of, what I talk about it as consumerizing, these SMB, these business activities, including finance and accounting. They make it much easier, to digest and do. Nothing has changed about accounting, right? It's still the debits and credits. It's still the balance sheet and the P&L. And you have to know how to do that and do that right. So actually, entrepreneurs get into hot water there sometimes,
Yeah.
because they're like, oh, cool, I can turn on Wave Accounting or Zero or QuickBooks Online, and that's it. I'm doing my accounting. It's like, well, not quite. Yeah, they make it user friendly, but then are you doing it right? Is your balance sheet and your P&L telling you what you need it to tell you when you need it to tell you that? And so that's where we come in, and we help all those entrepreneurs and business owners get those systems working the way they're supposed to, so it
Mhm.
can actually give them the information they need.
Okay, okay, cool. Very cool. So, is there a particular phase that SMB, an organization, an entrepreneur should engage with a firm such as yours to start working on their accounting?
Um, it's never too early, and so it can be too late, right? So there's not a particular phase, and let me say it like this: the majority of the businesses that we work with are between $1 and $10 million in annual revenue.
Okay.
Now, that is just a rule of thumb. We work with smaller and we work with larger. We work with smaller pre-revenue startups, one man or woman shows,
Hmm.
and so we can help them do the basics and get everything going before they even really have a business. But they get their accounting done right, so then when the money starts moving, money coming in, money going out, they're doing everything they need to do to keep track of it. So really, the reason there's that sweet spot in the 1 to 10 million annual revenue, because that's when it kind of gets a little bit overwhelming for whatever solution they've had so far, right? So your audience is entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
and they might you know start this business, and they kind of start doing the finance and accounting on their own, right? They start doing the
Right.
bookkeeping, like I said, turn some software on and start doing stuff, and okay, now I'm kind of categorizing my transactions. Then it gets a little bit too complicated, and then they like hire their spouse, to do that,
Right.
or they have their office admin person take that over. It's like, who does accounting? Or like that, somebody, not me. Like, I'm going to hand this off.
Right. Right.
And so that's kind of the journey. And then as they get into a real business, where they've got a team of 3 or 5 or 10 people, and they need to be focusing on value added activities of their business,
Hmm.
and they're generating, certain profitability, that's really like the crux moment where it's like, I have to get some professional help
Sure.
on my finance accounting. So a lot of businesses reach out to us at that moment, and they come to us, and we've seen that story a million times, right? Okay, I've seen you made a mess of your books here, I clean up and get everything straightened away.
Year, the beginning of the year is rapidly approaching. And, right now, business owners, if they haven't already, are sitting down trying to plan for 2022. Hopefully, it will be far better than the last couple of years that we've had, but they're thinking about their business goals, right? And a lot of times they're thinking about the strategies that they're going to implement come the new year. They're thinking about, the new programs that they're going to launch. But one of the things that I think they kind of miss is the financial aspect of the plan. Can you talk to us a little bit about why it's important for us to focus in on that financial aspect of financial planning for our businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think what you say is true. Business owners and entrepreneurs, by nature of who they are really good at what they do, right? Their
Right.
industry, whatever their special skill set is, their focus. Say, for example, you're running a marketing agency,
Hmm.
and you know everything about marketing and design and advertising, and that's really where you want to focus because that's your strength. And you build all these wonderful plans about what the next year is going to look like, what is going to be our go-to-market strategy, how are we going to reach out to our audience.
Right.
And so that's what business owners do, and they should, but absolutely, sometimes they don't take that next step and say, okay, let me boil this down into dollars and cents.
Right.
And what does that mean in terms of revenue, direct costs of generating that revenue, so I can know my gross profit and my margin percents, and what is my operating expenditures, my investments and people and facilities and everything else I'm going to make all of these plans a reality.
Right.
And that's what the financial planning process is, or the budget process is. And
Okay.
it can sound uh, boring, or one
Daunting.
of those, yeah, daunting, one of those homework assignments that your accounting teacher gave you that you didn't really want to do, but
Right.
it's kind of like you got to do it. You got to, if you want to run your business in a successful manner from the financial perspective, which ultimately ought to be the goal for any business, because that's the only way to guarantee that it's a going concern, meaning that
Right.
it has longevity, that's going to survive. Is I need to make sure this thing is profitable in the near term, in the medium term, in the long term, and that it's generates positive cash flow. So you've got to do it, and exactly that's what a big piece of what we do for our clients is build their financial plan or their budget for the coming year and years. So we'll build the monthly budget for 2022 at what we call the general ledger account level. And so that's every account in your accounting system. That's what shows up on your profit and loss statement, aka income statement, and your balance sheet. We'll build the budget at that level based on the business's, strategic plans, right? So we distill that into your different lines of business, how much revenue that's going to generate, what are the associated cost of sales or cost of goods sold. We'll build all that in at the account level, along with that operating expenditures, right? Your personnel expenses, your facility expenses, your software subscriptions, and we put that into the spreadsheet, right? Of this is my financial plan. This is going to be my guide as I go through the year, right? It's like those goalposts that you need to say, that's where I'm headed, right? And
Right.
so you have to go through that exercise so that you have that guide. And then during the year, ideally on a monthly basis at a minimum, you're checking progress. You're looking at my financial actuals and saying, okay, how did I perform this month and so far this year versus the budget that I built at the beginning of the
Right.
year?
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So, you were mentioning a few things out there like P&L, profit and loss. Do you take the entrepreneur, let's say it's an entry level entrepreneur, they're building their business and they have some revenue that's coming in. Do you work with that particular individual to help them understand exactly what a budget sheet is, a cash flow sheet, all of those things? Or do they need to come in kind of already understanding some of the concepts of accounting when working with you and PlotPath?
Not really, because we work with everybody of all shapes and sizes, you know.
Oh,
So like I said, we have this, primarily our clients that come to us have this profile, but we have every person you can imagine. So those people with zero accounting and finance background, they don't know anything about it. They don't want to know anything about it. We work with those kind of people, and we get the finance and accounting implemented in a way that needs to be done. And what inevitably happens is it becomes an education process for um,
mm,
for those entrepreneurs. I can't tell you the number. We have about 60 clients right now,
okay.
and we can tell you the number of entrepreneurs that have come to us in one state of finance and accounting awareness and are now in a completely different state.
Oh,
And
wow.
I can mention some names like Bo and JP, both in Austin, Texas. And when I hear them talk today about, okay, what is my revenue growth rate? What is my gross profit? What is my margin percent target by line of business? I get a little teary eyed
I
because
was
they
going
say,
to
hey,
say that must make you feel warm
it
inside.
feels really good, right? I mean, I'm not going to take credit for their successes. PlotPath
Right.
is a small portion of their financial reporting, and like most of our clients, they're incredible entrepreneurs and business people. But that financial and accounting maturity that's happened over the last years,
Hmm.
that's part of the education process of working with us. We get it right, and there's all this back and forth, right? There's a monthly review of how everything is going, and it just in that process, they learn from our team, right? Our team is bookkeepers, financial controllers who are all CPAs, and CFOs. And so in all of that interaction, they learn all of these finance and accounting, concepts and metrics and basically how to do finance and accounting.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. I love the evolution, right, from the beginning to the end, and that's awesome. So, in our initial discussion, Eric, we were talking about all of the different services that you offered. And one that really stuck out to me was this concept of a virtual CFO. Can you share with the audience a little bit more about what that is and why having one would be important?
Yeah, absolutely. So the virtual CFO is that finance and accounting resource that provides the business that strategic financial guidance.
Okay.
Okay, that is that key finance function that makes sure that the business is staying on track, that it is foreseeing the risks from the financial perspective to the business
Hmm.
and making sure that it addresses those, it mitigates those. That's essentially what a CFO does in any business. And of course, uh, this is a fractional CFO. So the way our CFOs work is they work on a fractional basis for a number of businesses. So it just
Okay.
depends on the exact engagement, the complexity of the business. But it might be as little as 3 hours a month, right? And that is make sense of the business's financial reporting and have a conversation with that entrepreneur about performance, progress against financial objectives, and talk about future financial planning. So it can be that, or it can be on the complete opposite end. It can be 10 hours a week, and that's because it's a big complex business. There's a lot of change going on, and the CFO is just in the nitty gritty,
Hmm.
helping their team and our team figure out how to run the business successfully.
So it sounds like you actually can kind of help organizations save money so they don't necessarily have to hire, excuse me, someone to be on staff, like, and pay them a 9 to 5, that
Yeah, exactly.
they can connect in with you just for, like you said, maybe 3 hours
Yep.
a month. That's really
Yeah, exactly. That's like the big value that we offer to organizations. One is that we are experts in this, right? We are the best bookkeepers, the best controller CPAs, and the best CFOs. I say that with a straight face, but I really feel that way. Like you could ask my team. It's like we try so hard to find the best people bring them onto the team, train them. So I really believe that. So I just say that without even laughing. We are really the best. And so
Love it.
that's one. You're getting experts that have been dealing with all of these issues for SMBs for years. And then two, yeah, the value is that you can potentially get it fractionally, right? If you want to try to build these same resources in-house as a small business, you can't really do it because you can't today as a small business staff an entire finance and accounting department, which you
Right.
need different sets of skills, right? You need like a analyst level bookkeeper, role. You need a financial controller, senior accountant role, and you need a CFO role. You can't staff that internally unless you want to dole out, 15 grand a month on payroll. And
Awesome.
so that's part of what we bring is, okay, we have a team of people with all of these different skill sets. Now they're going to work across a series of clients, and
Sure.
that's how they can dedicate, 2, 5, 10, 20 hours a month to these clients. And so you get all that expertise, but you're just paying for, the fraction that you're actually using.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit more about that virtual CFO and what they like. What are some of the deliverables that the CFO would be able to provide to the business?
Perfect. Yeah. Let me start by saying what they don't do, because
Okay.
so it's clear to the audience, because it can be a little bit difficult if you're not in the finance and accounting industry, how this all works. So like I said, we are bookkeepers, controllers, and CFOs. So the bookkeeping is the day-to-day transactional work, right? That is processing the transactions, your accounting software. That's dealing with your accounts receivable, your accounts payable, and your payroll, right? Processing all of those transactional activities. In addition to that, they'll do the month-end reconciliations. So that's get your statements from your bank. Every business needs to do that. Get your bank, credit card, loan statements, and reconcile your accounts in your accounting software. Every accounting software's got a reconciliation function. Use that to reconcile your accounts. The bookkeepers do all of that. The controllers come along and they review the reconciliations,
Mm-hmm.
and they do all of the complex month-end closing process, right? The month-end close is an important finance and accounting process that every business should do, and that's what makes sure that your books are closed and correct at the end of the month, right? And so that can be complex revenue accrual and deferral processes. That can be calculating the commissions that you owe to your salespeople and recording that as a payable to your team, all sorts of stuff like that, right? So that's what the controllers do. The CFOs essentially are consumers of all of that information, right? Just like if you had an in-house CFO, that's what they would do. They would have their team of finance and accounting people prepare all of the financial reporting, and they're going to consume that information to understand how the business is doing. And they're going to discuss all of that performance, that financial performance and the metrics with the business owner to give them the guidance they need. So that's that's the CFO activity there. Now, when a business is going through change, the CFO does a lot more, right? The CFO has all of that, 20, 30, 40 years of finance and accounting and internal control processes background. And they're going to help make sure that all of the in-house processes are functioning properly.
Okay.
Right? That we are not falling behind on our accounts receivable. How are we billing our clients? How do we do our collections process? Same thing on the accounts payable side and the payroll side. They make sure all of those processes are properly mitigating risk and making sure that the company operates efficiently. So that's the role of the CFO. They have a big role in that whole forward-looking financial planning aspect that we talked about before. I don't know if you want to jump to the screen share now,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, let's do that. Give me 1 second.
Is it still sharing? Let me see on my end.
Yeah,
Okay.
give me 1 second. There you go.
So this is just to show kind of like what the output or the deliverable would be of the financial planning or the budgeting process, right? So here's
sorry. Hold on 1 second.
okay.
Let me get you back up there. There you go.
So this is a very high level report of financial metrics, but what it shows you is, revenue by quarter, actuals, and your plan. And so the CFO is going to work with the business owner and the executive team to build out that financial plan that we talked about that translates the business's, strategic goals into a profit and loss and a balance sheet, right? Their forward looking financial plan. And then this would be the deliverable that the CFO is going to use at the end of every month or quarter to track progress against the budget on the revenue side, on the gross margin side, on the gross margin percent side, as well as the OPEX and net income. So that's that. Getting back to your question of what is the CFO's role, they're going to build and devise that financial plan, and they're going to use reporting like this to help the business owner measure progress against that, hold the team accountable to those financial goals, those kinds of activities.
Awesome. Awesome. There's a lot of information that we see there on the screen that a lot of businesses probably don't even come close to understanding. But it's very important for their business, right? For them to understand this information to continue to grow or to strategize to grow, even, right?
Right. And it's not, proper, financial reporting and analysis and running your business by the numbers is not something that happens overnight, obviously.
Yeah.
I always talk to business owners and entrepreneurs about the concept of bank account business management. And any of us who have run a business have been there before, right? I don't have the right processes and financial reporting in place to really analyze my business and predict the future. So how do I run my business? I look at my bank account, I see how much money I have in there,
Yeah.
and based on that, I decide to hire, fire, invest, or cut costs. And that is not an efficient and effective way to run a business. As everybody knows, it's just challenging to get on the other side of that. But that's what we help businesses do, transition from that. I'm just running my business based on how much money I have in my bank account to, okay, I'm running my business based on my projected revenue for this quarter, my costs, and my net income. And how did I perform against that? And then based on that, I'm going to make decisions. We're underperforming, so we're going to have to trim costs a little bit. And so see this hire that we had planned for Q2 on the sales and marketing team, we're not going to be able to make that hire. We're going to have to delay that to Q3. So that kind of, analysis and how it feeds back into the decision-making process is where business owners should be, aspiring to get to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It allows you to take a look into the future so that you can make educated decisions now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
The mantra that I like to hammer on all the time is data driven and forward looking finance and accounting. It's all about forward looking, right? I'm a CPA. All of our financial controllers on our team are CPAs. We are not tax people. The tax CPA, you need them. Great. We work with them all the time. They've got to file your taxes so you meet your obligations to the federal and state government. But that's usually an activity that happens at least a month, if not 3 or 9 months after the end of the year to make sure you pay your bills.
Right.
But that information is not useful in terms of running your business, right? That's backward looking. We're trying to do something different here. We're doing close your books timely, get all of the financial and accounting processes in place to bring the information to the business owner in a timely manner, so they can actually use it to make decisions now, that ones that have, real impact here in the next couple of weeks or months.
Sure. Awesome. Okay. So, I have a couple, 2 or 3 more questions for you. And before I ask you those questions, I do want to remind the audience that you have the ability to ask questions to Eric in your chat panel. So please throw your questions in there for us, and I'll make sure that I get them to Eric so that he can address them for you. Eric, shifting direction just a little bit. You first off, I know that you're a QuickBook Elite organization, but are you similar to QuickBook? Are you different from QuickBooks? Like, what's the
Yeah.
difference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and that's a real common question because sometimes people look at us and they say, "Oh, you're software. You've got all these wonderful, pretty pictures and graphs over here, so you must be software." We're not. We're a service business, and so what an elite pro advisor means is we just have enough points with Intuit QuickBooks that they classify us in that tier, which is the highest one. That's just based on the number of clients we have and that kind of thing.
Okay. Okay.
And so QuickBooks and QuickBooks Online in particular is the primary accounting software that we use to service all of our clients. And
Understood.
so we use other accounting software, Xero, Wave, NetSuite, Intact, but the majority of our clients use QuickBooks Online to run their finance and accounting. And so we're experts in the implementation of QuickBooks Online and the use of it. And so we'll help businesses implement it properly and use it on an ongoing basis correctly.
That brings so much clarity to it. Thank you for that. Lastly, I was, looking at some of your blogs that you have online, and one of your blogs was talking about positive cash flow, which is a necessity for every business. But you were also talking about networking capital and the importance of it. Can you share that, a little snippet of that with the audience, why networking capital, why it's different than cash flow, and then why it's important?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to jump over again to the screen share, just where I have the
Sure,
blog pulled up while I talk about it?
absolutely.
And I'm
There you
not going
go.
to read it because that would be boring. But exactly, this is the blog you're talking about. And yeah, networking capital is a key metric that businesses need to know and use on a regular basis to run their business. So, we talk about that bank account business management, knowing what's in my bank account, right? That is an important number. Even when you do finance accounting properly, you want to know what's in my bank account. That's my cash balance.
Right.
But you can't stop there. And where you want to get to next is networking capital, right? That's the business that's the funds that the business has to operate on, right? So yes, it's the cash in your bank, but if you're not taking into account your liabilities, right? What is your outstanding payable due to your vendors or your contractor? What payroll payable do you have? What do you owe on your credit cards? Do you have any short-term loans or other accrued expenses? If you're not taking those to account, you could be counting on, I've got $100,000 in the bank. I'm good to go for 6 months. But maybe you've got $90,000 worth of short-term liabilities. And so really your net working capital is only $10,000.
Mm,
And so when you're thinking about my cash runway, that's how many months can I run the business on my current balance? You need to be using net working capital to calculate that. And so I talked about all the liability side there, all the things that you potentially owe in the near term. On the asset side, in addition to cash, you have to think about your outstanding receivables, right? You have customers that owe you money that's going to be coming in. You have inventory that you're going to sell. You're going to convert that to cash as you sell through it. And if you were to happen to have any, investments in stocks or bonds or any other marketable securities. So you take all those items into account and you subtract the liabilities from the assets, and that's your net working capital. You can go one step further and divide that by your monthly cash need. So let's say I've got $100,000 of current assets. I've got $50,000 of current liabilities. My net working capital is 50,000.
hmm hmm
My cash runway stated in months. If I spend $10,000 a month on running my business, on my overhead, I've got 5 months of cash runway. A business's goal should, the more the better. Try to get to 6 months of cash runway. Ideally, of course, that takes a profitable business for some time to get there. And so that's the target that you want to have in mind. Too much cash can be a bad thing as well, because that means you're not deploying it anywhere. You're
Mm.
not, you might want to pull it out of the business
Mhm.
and invest it separately. The business might want to invest it in some liquid assets, or maybe if you've generating profit and you've got cash in the bank, maybe you should be investing it in a new offering, a new service or product offering to help, grow your business further.
Wow. Wow. That's something for, I'm sure, a lot of people to think about. That may just be sitting on um, cash right now in their bank accounts. Thank you for that. That was very enlightening to
Yeah.
understand really how networking capital works, and it's not just about um, a positive or negative cash flow and so forth, right? Okay. Um, well, that's all the questions that I had for you, Eric. I do want to give you the opportunity if there's anything else that you'd like to share with the audience.
Can you share screen again? Sorry to keep making you do
Absolutely.
that.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Yeah, there you go.
I wanted to say, I wanted to mention the team. And so,
Oh, sure.
you can go to plotpath.com and scroll down and you'll find our team there. And when you asked about, are we competitors to QuickBooks or how exactly do it? I mentioned we're a service business. So ultimately at the end of the day, it's our team that, makes possible what we do. And like I said, we put a lot of time and effort into finding the right people, finding the best, bookkeepers, controllers, and CFOs, and working collaboratively as a team and with our clients to make sure that we are delivering, on our promise to our clients. And so I just wanted to pull up our team page and show off all of their pretty faces.
Awesome. Awesome. That
Other
is a
than that, I
robust
don't.
team.
Sorry.
I said that is a robust team.
Yeah, we have about, 13 people on the team, bookkeepers, controllers, and CFOs, and then some additional administrative people. So, yeah, and I don't have anything else to add. I mean, I could go on and on about this stuff because I live and breathe it every day. But maybe we should
Right.
stop there and, you know see if there's any questions or
Okay.
pick up the conversation later.
Yes, there are a couple of questions that came in. So one of the questions is, do you help set up QuickBooks for businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll set up QuickBooks. Typically, if someone's going to come to us for a setup, we're going to put them on QuickBooks Online.
Okay.
Right off the bat, it's a much better product than QuickBooks Desktop nowadays. And so, yeah, if somebody comes up to us with nothing, we'll set them up on QuickBooks Online. And in addition to that, a lot of times people are using QuickBooks Desktop and they want to transition to QuickBooks Online, and so we'll convert them.
Okay. All right. I think you just answered the second question that is here is there a particular accounting software that you would recommend?
Yeah, and it is QuickBooks Online. I don't know if I sound like I drank the Kool-Aid or not, but I don't think I have. QuickBooks and Intuit are not paying me to say that, unfortunately. We actually used to recommend Zero, about 4 years ago, a few years into PlotPath. Um, but QuickBooks Online made a lot of advancements, over the recent years, using agile software development processes, and they've
Mhm.
released a whole ton of features that just makes it far and away better than Zero or any of the other SMB, cloud-based accounting softwares.
Mhm.
So really, at this point, to us, it's a no-brainer. Unless you have some oddity about your business, some particular need that makes an industry specific or a larger software platform like NetSuite or Intact necessary. Barring that, QuickBooks Online is a great product for most SMBs out there.
Awesome. Okay. All right. And it looks like I only have one additional question. Do you hold any group coaching sessions or do you only work with businesses one on one?
No, we don't do any group coaching. We've done webinars in the past. We haven't done any recently, but we'll probably pick that up again. And so, no, that's what I can say to that. I've done plenty of that stuff in the past with lunch and learns and webinars and that kind of thing. None of them are on the calendar now. But if you're interested in that, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I'm sure I can get something on the calendar.
Okay, awesome. And then a subscriber here has sent in one last question. And that question is, how can we get in contact if we're interested in the service?
Go to PlotPath.com and you'll see a big contact us button right there.
Awesome.
I'm sharing it on the screen. And so that's the best way to reach out to us. That'll actually come to my inbox. And so I'll get back in touch with you.
Awesome, awesome. And in addition to that, we also have all of your platforms that you are on for connectivity. So first, PlotPath is on Facebook. So here is the Facebook link. We have Eric at PlotPath Finance. Eric is also on Twitter at PlotPath Finance. And then lastly, on LinkedIn, he is at PlotPath Finance on LinkedIn. So be sure to check out all of Eric's platforms and get in contact with him, and definitely go to his website for if the service is something that is necessary and needed for your organization, which, as we just spoke about, it's necessary and needed for all organizations, small to large size. So, Eric, I really appreciate you being here with us today. There you are. We got you. So, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. I just want to make sure that all of the links and the websites will be in the description of the recording, so be sure to check it out. Down there also will be Eric's newsletter and my newsletter, the Executive Memo, where we both keep our audiences up to date on events to help you grow your business. So again, Eric, thank you so much for your time today. I have already book time on my calendar to review my finances on a monthly basis and plan for 2022. And I hope my audience has as well, or they're going to do so as soon as they're done watching this show. But again, thank you so much for chatting with us. It was really
no, absolutely, Adrian. It was fun. I really appreciate it, and I hope it was helpful to the audience out there.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Get the finances in order, and build a successful business so that you can run that business for a long, long time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you take care, and we'll be talking soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Our show today was powered by Ecamm Live. If you'd like more information regarding Ecamm Live, be sure to check the information in the description. Also, be sure to tune in to the next episode where I have a discussion with the founder for a business-to-business lead generation and sales activation firm, which helps businesses attract more ideal prospects and keep their sales pipeline consistently full. You don't want to miss that conversation. A recording of this show will be posted on YouTube at the Lady Executive channel. Be sure to head on over, like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when an episode is available. While you're at it, make sure to join our Facebook group, The Executive Lounge, where you get early access to these live tapings and the ability to participate in our live studio audience. And as always, remember, experience is the master teacher, even when the experience is not our own. Until next time, bye-bye for now.